Ritigliano's Browns kicking it off. A vocal crowd in support of the Clevelanders. Cockcroft's kick is high. Bruce Harper waits at the 7. Harper at the 20. And hit hard at the 25-yard line. A bruising tackle by 55, John Mooring. The Jets come on the field with Richard Todd, their quarterback. The running backs in a wounded situation, especially at fullback for the Jets. Scott Dierking, Tom Newton, and Clark Gainspot as he played last week against the Rams. The speed of Walker and Jones on the outside, frightening for the Browns defense. Jerome Barkham, the veteran tight end. Chris Ward, Stan Waldemore, Joe Fields will start at center. That's a key move for the Jets. Alexander Roman for the injured Marvin Powell at right tackle. From the 25-yard line, Richard Todd to Dierking, slipping and sliding and gaining a couple into the teeth of that Cleveland Browns defense. Robert L. Jackson made the tackle. The defense: Marshall Harris, Henry Bradley, two new names, and they've contributed so strongly to an improved Cleveland defense with the veteran Lyle Alzado. The linebackers: Charlie Hall, the veteran. R.L. Jackson may be as active and tough as any in the league. Dick Ambrose, leading tackler. Clay Matthews. The deep four: Ron Bolton, Clinton Burrell, Tom Darden, the all-time interception leader, Browns history, and Clarence Scott. Second down, 8 from the 27. Draw play to Newton. He has running room, 35, and he's out to the 40 and a first down. Tom Newton hit by Clarence Scott. First down, Jets at the 40.
Big hole opening up early. Obviously, Cleveland anticipating the pass. In the middle, you see Joe Fields, the center, moving there. Waldemore, 70. Fine block by Dierking right there on Clay Matthews, 57. That sprung him out of there. Nice gain, first down. Pretty good field position early for the Jets.
Ball at the 40 of New York. Just underway on a cloudy, rainy day in Cleveland. Play action. Todd dumps it off to Dierking. And he's hit immediately by Charlie Hall, shy of the 45-yard line. It's a gain of nearly 5.
One of the best battles, Dick, on the line of scrimmage is taking place between Lyle Alzado and Chris Ward. But on that last play, it was just a wrestling match. You can't imagine the change in the battle between an offensive and defensive lineman. Watch Ward using his hands on Alzado. Alzado, a bull rusher, a power rusher. Watch what he does to Ward right at the end of this rush. He just got frustrated. And that's enough dancing for me. Dumped his partner on the ground.
And Waldemore came in to get his chance at him. Second down, 5 from the 45. Lamb Jones in motion. Dierking outside. Not much there. At the 47-yard line, Robert L. Jackson, number 56. Oh, is he tough. Clarence Scott assisted. It'll be 3rd and 3 for the Jets.
Dick, at the beginning of this season, the defense here in Cleveland was really suspect, and many felt that they simply were not going to have a defense. But Marty Schottenheimer has done a marvelous job of getting this group of mostly young players. There are a couple of veterans in there, but most of them are young players. And they've really come together in the last few weeks. Really, more than anything else, they won the game against Houston, not the offense.
The two numbers in that defensive front, the new names are 90 Harris and 91 Bradley. We'll pursue their background in this 80 season as this game develops. Play action, Todd, complete. Jerome Barkham has a first down at the Cleveland 39. Clay Matthews made the tackle. So Barkham, the veteran from Jackson State, the oldest Jet at 30, has the first down.
The objective of the play-action pass is to freeze the linebackers. You see Clay Matthews, 57, reacting up to the play, getting back then into the secondary, but all they can do is make the tackle. Big gain for the Jets. They've moved the ball comfortably here on the first drive. They'd love to get it into the end zone.
11 and a half minutes remaining in the first quarter. First down at the 39 of Cleveland. Play action again. Todd, plenty of time, dumps it out to Dierking, and his momentum carries him out of bounds after a very short gain at the 37-yard line. Make it the 38. Gain of only a yard. Walt Michaels, 51 years of age, in his 4th year with the Jets. He was 8-8 last year, 8-8 the year before. Disappointing this year with only 3 wins, and yet it's a team that, with its talent, Merlin, you feel it's going to explode. I guess the people in New York have felt that way for a few years. When will they finally really pop it and enjoy the success that Sam Ritigliano's Browns are enjoying this year?
I'm sure one thing they have to do is let those youngsters play for a while. You just can't keep turning them over, Dick.
10 rookies again this year on this Jets roster. 2nd and 9. A flag is down. Todd to Barkham. Incomplete, and what a collision inside the 10 between Barkham and Clarence Scott, 22. Now check the penalty flag. We may have had a motion. Yes. Gene Boris, the referee. So 5 yards, we'll see.
Illegal motion, 72 offense, refused, 3rd down.
Chris Ward perhaps trying to get a little extra advantage on Alzado.
Ward is really pumped up for that battle. And as I was saying, teams that are winning have a winner's confidence. And a small mistake, even a large mistake, even if they're down 7 or 14 points, they say, hey, we're going to come back and win this. But when you're losing like the Jets are, you really get kind of desperate, and it makes it awfully tough.
4-man front, 3rd down and 9. Bruce Harper is in the game for the Jets. He usually gets the ball. He's in the pass pattern. It's to Harper, but he's hit immediately short of the 1st down, and we may have a penalty on Ward for holding Alzado. Yes, Ward guilty of the hold against Alzado, and we'll see whether or not the Browns will take that penalty with a gain to the 32. That would put Leahy within range of a long field goal.
Alzado, the defensive captain, also gets the opportunity to say whether they're going to take the penalty or not. I feel they'll move them back. Their defense is playing well. Again, it's a costly error. We saw a little bit of the battle earlier between these two. The last time Alzado was on Ward, got himself a couple of sacks, about 7 tackles. Ward's been waiting for this rematch.
72 offense, holding, still 3rd down.
Ward, the 2-time All-American from Ohio State. Let's take a look.
See it for yourself on the left side of your screen. You just saw the holding match going on. You see the end of it right there as they're able to get the pass complete. But that's no good when they got a yellow flag on the ground. They're going to march it back.
Ball out the 47-yard line, 3rd and 19. 4-man defensive front for the Browns. Harris, Franks, Bradley, and Alzado. Complete to Newton at the 40, but he's chopped down at the 37. Clarence Scott from Kansas State. Clay Matthews from Southern California made the tackle. That's going to put the Jets out of field goal range. Let's see if... No, Walt Michaels brings in his punting team.
Obviously trying to kick for the sideline here, or trying to angle it out, or maybe even a little poocher.
No, they are going to go apparently for the field goal, Merlin. Here comes Leahy and Ryan.
Leahy, by the way, has been more accurate outside of the 40 than he has from the 30 to the 40. Rather an interesting stat for a kicker.
But he's never kicked 150, and this would be 55. It's high enough. It's, no good. It hit the crossbar and bounced back into the end zone. How close can you come? Oh, my.
Been that kind of year for these New York Jets, and it's happening again. A powerful kick by Leahy on target. Watch it. Bounce up and drop almost straight down, but it came down on the wrong side of the ball.
Now the Browns will have it at the 38-yard line when we return early in this first quarter. Yard line. Greg Pruitt and Mike Pruitt behind quarterback Brian Sipe. Reggie Rucker in motion. Sipe complete to Dave Logan. He's got the ball out to the 48-yard line. Appears to be a 1st down. Crosby and Dykes made the tackle. Let's quickly set the Cleveland offense. The number 1 passer in the American Football Conference, Brian Sipe, running the team out of San Diego State. He has the 2 Pruitts with him, Mike of Purdue, Greg of Oklahoma. The receivers, and an excellent core they are, Dave Logan, Reggie Rucker, and the tight end Ozzie Newsome playing on a bad ankle. We'll get the offensive line for you after this play. 1st down at the 48. Greg Pruitt, 50, 45, ran into his own blocker and down at the 44. Ron Crosby secured the tackle after a 9-yard gain. Offensive line for the Browns. Doug Deacon, Henry Shepard, regarded as the best of that 5. Tom DeLeon, Joe DeLamelure from Buffalo's done a fine job, and Cody Rison will have his hands full. Then we'll be watching that matchup, Merlin. Eisen will be working on Mark Gastineau, who's blossoming as one of the tough defensive ends in this game. Mike Pruitt on a trap is inside the 40 and a Cleveland first down. Crosby again with a tackle. Defensively, the Jets line up this way, the 4-3 set. Gastineau leading the team with 11.5 sacks. Abdul Salam, Marty Lyons, many injuries, but still in the starting lineup. Joe Klecko. The linebackers, Buttle, Blinka, and Crosby. And the back line, Bobby Jackson and Donald Dykes. Ken Schroy with 8 interceptions, number 48. And Darrell Ray, the rookie from Oklahoma, number 28. Sipe. Complete. Rucker, 30. He is to the 22. First down. Donald Dykes wrestled him down. 17 yards for Sipe.
Brian Sipe is one of the most confident quarterbacks I've ever met. He'll stand back in that pocket. He only asks for one thing. That's time to throw the football, and believes that every pass he's going to throw is going to be complete. That one certainly is. Picking on the linebacker there, they feel that they can beat Crosby in some of those short passes. Rucker, a smart pattern runner, gets himself open. They get the ball to him. They have the first down.
An impressive drive by the Browns. No score. Mike Pruitt. And he's met rudely at the 24-yard line. Mark Gastineau shooting through to make the hit. 6'5" and 280 pounds. First report from D.C. and the Redskins. The underdogs take the early lead against the Chargers. Joe Lavender, 48-yard touchdown on a pass interception.
Looking at Mark Gastineau, you just got to shake your head. He's just starting to find out what it's all about. Young man with incredible strength.
And speed. He runs a 4.600. That's fullback speed.
Well, I don't know whether I'm going to believe that time. We're going to keep an eye on him, see if he can go that fast. But he is strong and quick and fast.
A loss of 2, second and 12. Sipe, draw play to Pruitt. And read well by 93 Marty Lyons, the number 1 pick of the Jets last year out of Alabama, where he followed another great All-American, Bob Baumhauer, picked by the Miami Dolphins.
We talked about the Cleveland defense. The Jets defense has made some strides of its own, although some of those strides the last couple of weeks have been in the wrong direction. They have actually dropped a number of places in the NFL standings, but they've gone up against a couple of offensive teams that were hot. The Houston Oilers put some yardage on the field against them, and last week the Rams chewed them up pretty good.
I think their worst defeat of the year last week in Anaheim. Sipe on 3rd and 11. They have been offside. Calvin Hill is in the game. Sipe is hit, and down he goes. Joe Klecko back at the 35-yard line, but I believe the Browns are going to get a break. Those little penalties that you talked about, Merlin Olsen, it appears that it's against the Jets. Gene Barth will give the announcement.
Illegal movement by the quarterback.
Oh, it's against the Browns, and Brian Sipe can't believe it. And then with a sack, that takes them out of field goal range.
I think Sipe was so sure that the defense was offsides that he just calmly took that sack instead of throwing it away as he normally would. I think you're right.
Illegal movement by the quarterback. Refused. 4th down.
Here's the play again.
Obviously, now watch the quarterbacks. Well, we won't see the quarterback's head. We will see the move by Gastineau as he leans into the neutral zone. They tracked him. Now watch. Well, we didn't see Sipe's movement there. Obviously, he's either moving his head or moving his feet. And sometimes the officials are going to call that very, very carefully. That's strictly a judgment call. It's not often called.
John Cockcroft is going to try a field goal 52 yards away. Leahy missed barely from 55. On its way, short. So Cockcroft unable to connect from 52. His longest this year is 47 yards. So both teams drove into their opponent's territory. Both missed long field goal attempts. It'll be the Jets' turn when we come back. 6 minutes left, first quarter.
When high.
Richard Todd will be credited with an interception on that play. He doesn't deserve that. He put this ball right into the hands of the rookie, Lamb Jones. And Lamb has got one problem. He runs the nice pattern, he gets open, and occasionally simply does not hang on to the football. Ron Bolton did hang on to it. He got the ball back for Cleveland.
Well, he showed the concentration, the exact talent that Lamb lacked on that particular play. So the Browns have it at their own 39. No score. Control of the ball, a juggling interception. his 5th of the season, and the Browns have it at the 39-yard line.
Just before this play, Sipe was talking to the official saying, "What do you mean I can't bob my head? I bob my head when I talk." I think they're explaining it to him a little bit, though.
Pruitt behind Sipe. Good protection. Complete to Newsom at the 50 and down at the 48. You can see how soft the turf is at midfield. Newsom had trouble accelerating after a 14-yard game.
When the footing is bad, the advantage passes to the offense, though, because the defense must react. The offense at least knows where the cut's going to take place. They could choose the ground if they will. Ozzie Newsom did not play the last half of the game against Houston last week because it was on a hard surface. He's having trouble with that ankle. This kind of giving surface is much more forgiving to those injured legs.
Ball at the 48 of the Jets. First down, Browns. 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Mike Pruitt cutting back inside, and a good play by Joe Klecko. Klecko, who had gone after the quarterback, then saw the play develop back toward him, and he made a good move to hit him down at the 45-yard line. There's no score here in Cleveland. We understand that we're ready for an update on action elsewhere in the National Football League, and we'll be getting to that shortly. Brian Sipe, picked in the 13th round. He was the 330th player selected in 1972, and now the #1 passer in the AFC. Second down, 7. Oh, what a hit by Ken Schroy as he popped Newsom at the 42-yard line, 4 yards short of the first down. No score in Cleveland. Now let's go to Bryant in New York.
Thank you, Dick. Up the road from you in Cincinnati, there's been a score. Pete Johnson from 5 yards out, taking it in, has the Bengals in front of the Colts by a score of 7-0. Dick?
All right, Brian, of course, Cincinnati, a team that Cleveland will be facing in the season's finale. And they're thinking a bit about that rivalry here in Ohio.
Dick, so far in this game, both offenses able to move the ball. Certainly a thrust back and forth, but neither able to get close enough to get anything on the scoreboard, although both have tried a field goal.
Rucker comes in motion, 3rd down and 4. Blitz on by the Jets. Complete to Greg Pruitt, 30, 20, and he's all the way to the 18-yard line. Donald Dykes made the tackle. First down, Cleveland.
Sipe gets the Jet defense spread out, gets them deep, works back underneath to Greg Pruitt, showing you some of the moves that have made him a very feared player, now a spot player for the Browns, but a very important player for them. He's got them down in scoring position. Let's see if Cleveland can take advantage of it.
Pruitt, really, his personality as a player has changed for him. Going into the game, 31 carries, but 35 catches. He has become a receiver. Sipe, a perfect 6 for 6. Gives to Mike Pruitt. And the big fullback from Purdue is inside the 15, down close to the 13-yard line. Shepard and DeLeon, the guard and center, opening the hole.
This Cleveland offensive line has been given some just rewards toward the end of this season. Not the most publicized unit around, maybe not even the most talented, but they play together exceedingly well. It's the teamwork, and it's the cooperation and timing of an offensive line that really makes things work.
And that's the end of the first 15 minutes here at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland. There is no score, the Jets and the Browns, but Cleveland on the move as we open the second period.
More productive by bringing it close.
Then Sam Rutigliano arrived. Sipe became the regular quarterback when Mike Phipps was injured against the Jets, by the way, and now they're talking Cypher Bowl. That's getting to the penthouse in a hurry. 14-yard line, first down play. Calvin Hill is in the game for Cleveland as we open the second quarter. Sipe intercepted. Donald Dykes, and he is hit at the 7-yard line. A rare interception against Sipe, who's been picked off only 10 times all year, but Donald Dykes has his 4th of the season for the Jets.
An uncharacteristic mistake. One thing you can say about the Cleveland Browns, they have not made many mistakes offensively. In fact, lowest turnover ratio, lowest number of turnovers in the AFC. But Sipe getting some pressure from Gastineau, moving to the outside, simply threw a bad pass. May not have seen Dykes slipping in from the outside.
Now the second quarter in Cleveland opens with a costly turnover. The Jets now have it. Cleveland has been intercepted. Noisy Municipal Stadium, 80,000 strong in support of Cleveland, and they're going to make it tough on Richard Todd as he begins this series at the Jet 8-yard line. Trying to throw from his own goal line, pumping and throwing long for Walker, and there's interference. Clinton Burrell thought touchdown as he had lost Walker completely, and he tackled him in the open field. That was about the easiest call that you'd ever want to make.
Well, and you have to train your defensive backs that way. If they figure the trade-off is a penalty for a touchdown, they're going to make the trade.
Penalty will be marked at about the 39-yard line. First down for the Jets, so that gets Todd out of the hole. Well, you've got to respect Walker, and there's a man whose services have been sorely missed by New York earlier this year with Walker out, and he became really, as a young veteran, a leader on this team offensively, and they've missed him. Now he's getting back in form.
He certainly has the respect of this Cleveland staff. They rank him right up with James Watson.
Now the Packers. First down play. Newton struggling forward to the 43-yard line. Say one thing, Merlin Olsen. Well, say one thing. That's we're going to go to New York.
Okay.
All right, Dick, big surprise going on at RFK. This is the Redskins show.
So an upset brewing in the nation's capital as San Diego trails by 14. Here no score, second down and 6. And Scott Durkin, and he's to the 47-yard line. Ball is stolen. Clay Matthews comes up with it, but the whistle had blown it dead. Clarence Scott made the tackle for the Browns. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. What I was going to say, Merlin, was that the Jets have impressed me just in their spirit of play. This is not a team that looks as if they've won but 3. They're playing very hard. It's not a team that is playing out the season.
No, I think one of the reasons for that, they are so young that they have not gotten as discouraged as perhaps an older team would this late in the year when they only won those 3 ball games.
Third and 2, and I don't believe he made it. Kevin Long in the game. Long has been injured. This is his first carry today. Dick Ambrose met him, and judging from our angle, it looks as if Long might be just a little short.
I don't believe he's going to make it either, but they of course are missing the services of Marvin Powell, number 79, big right tackle who is such an effective blast blocker, and they would like to have him in the ball game. Joe Fields is playing, but Joe is playing hurt, as is the left tackle, not Stan Waldemore, but Dan Alexander, the right guard, also playing hurt in there. So a lot of injured people in there.
Duck in a report as you see the measurement. It is short of the first down, brings up 4th and half a yard. Tim Mazzetti has kicked a field goal for Atlanta, so the Falcons take the early lead against Philadelphia 3-0 in the first quarter.
You see Walt Michaels shake his head. They felt like they had that first down. Quick change by the Jets if they get out there. People on and off the field. Looks like a fire drill.
And the Browns just do get their substitutions on. Dino Hall back at the 12. Little scat back for the Browns, an exciting player. Chuck Ramsey to kick it. He's averaging almost 43 yards a punt this year. Former Wake Forest star sends a spinner. One of those kicks that bounding around dangerously where it can hit an offensive player, in this case a Browns player's legs, and be a live ball, but it will be Cleveland's possession at the 16-yard line. We have a timeout. 12 and a half minutes left in the first half at Municipal Stadium, where the Jets and Browns are scoreless. 12:38 left in a scoreless first half in Cleveland. Brian Sipe, boy, that's a great ratio, touchdowns to interceptions.
It certainly is. That's one of the ways you judge a quarterback. We'll have to add one more to that interception ratio. He's had one picked off, but only 1 out of 46 passes on the average intercepted by Sipe during this season.
He starts from his own 16. Greg Pruitt on the sweep, and down he goes at the 18-yard line. Stan Blanca, middle backer from Sam Houston State, made the stop.
You saw the numbers on Sipe. Maybe we can get the numbers on Todd to give you a comparison. Almost a reverse order. 25 touchdowns, now 11 interceptions for Sipe. Richard Todd, 15 touchdowns, 23, and as we said, 1 interception in this game, so 24 interceptions. Almost the inverse order. We have to say in Richard Todd's behalf, though, he hasn't had quite the help that Brian Sipe has had during this year.
That's right. Sipe until today sacked only 15 times. Down once today. Dumps it out to Mike Pruitt. He's at the 20, breaks the tackle, and has a first down out at the 27-yard line, and a flag goes down. Rookie Darrell Ray, the safety man from Oklahoma, and Walt Michaels doesn't like that call.
Walt staring on almost in disbelief. One of the things the officials are being very hard on these days is the hit out of bounds, the hit along the sideline, the unnecessary part. It strictly is unnecessary roughness. Sipe doing what he does so well, dumping the ball off, gets it right in front of Pruitt. Watch the shot, out of bounds, right there. Clearly so, a good call by the official.
Now they mark it out to the 42-yard line.
Unnecessary roughness, number 28 defense, sacked on the end of the play, first down.
And that's the mistake of a young player.
And of course, for Michaels, the 51-year-old head coach, he has to be saying to himself, hey, this is a game of contact, and he is a physical man, and he doesn't want his players to pull back. But there's no question about the play, Merlin. You're right. He was hit well out of bounds.
You've got to be smart. You've got to learn how to use those hits at the right time, Dick.
From the 42, no score in the game. Sipe out to Greg Pruitt. Got some running room, and down he goes to the 48-yard line. That'll be second down and 4 here in Cleveland. No score, but the Browns on the move again. Now let's check on elsewhere in the NFL with Bryant in New York.
Thank you, Dick. At RFK Stadium, the Chargers were on the board. Dan Fouts throwing his 29th touchdown pass. Some strange defense by Monty Coleman. Greg McCrary has the ball. Point after. Chargers have 7. Redskins have 14. Dick?
All right, Bryant. Here, no score in Cleveland. The Browns have it. Second down and 4 at their 48-yard line. Rucker right, Logan left. Play action to Pruitt. Complete. Dave Logan from Colorado has a first down at the Jet 36. Stan Blinker with the tackle.
Chance for you to watch Brian Sipe in action. Little play action fake. Again, designed to hold those defensive backs, to hold those linebackers in. All kinds of room inside. Watch the little fake here to Pruitt. Sipe, an excellent ball handler, fakes the ball up into the line. Pruitt just gives you a little wobble to the outside, holds the linebacker up, opens some territory downfield. That's why that pass play was open.
Sipe from the 37 gives to Pruitt, and he fights almost all on his own to the 32. A gain of about 5 from Mike Pruitt, who started today with 843 yards, number 3 in the American Conference behind Campbell and Cribbs.
The name we have not called, Mark Gastineau's name. And of course, that's good news for those who are following the battle between he and Cody Rison. Cody getting some help. Ozzie Newsom's been helping from the tight end spot. They'll also use a back to help on that young man. But he has not been on around the neck of Brian Sipe, but many expected to see before now.
It's closer to second and 6, a short 6. With Rucker in motion, Sipe throws it to Greg Pruitt. Good move. And another, and finally a first down at the 21.
11 yards on that pass play. Sipe has completed 10 of 11 passes. Actually completed all 11. One went to the wrong colored jersey. He's having an excellent day. And he said going into this game, he said the Jets run a very simple defensive system. They're not complicated. If I have time to throw the football, I should be able to complete a very high percentage of my passes. A very modest statement. He's done exactly that.
Indeed, and they have protected him well. From the 21, first down with 9 minutes left in the half. Flag is down. Sipe scrambling and throws it away. Actually, 2 different flags are thrown, and I believe they both were for holding.
Well, I think Cody Rison is one. We talked about his battle with Gastineau. And on that particular play, again, ball had to be held a little extra long. And usually that's when you get those holding calls.
We saw Gene Barclay holding both ways, so they will nullify one another.
Offsetting holding fouls. 51 defense held. 63 offense held. We'll replay the down.
Cody Rison of the Browns, guilty of holding Gastineau. And 51, Greg Weddle trying to hold up one of the pass receivers.
We watched Gastineau work on Jackie Slater of the Rams last week, who's a very physical football player. Slater had to resort to some pretty heavy holding to keep him out of there. Gastineau, as we said, a very powerful young man, just learning what it's all about on the field.
Reminds me of a big Jack Youngblood, 280. First down from the 21. Incomplete to Calvin Hill, the veteran from Yale, a top pick, number 1 draft of the Dallas Cowboys in '69, and finding the fountain of youth right here along the banks of Lake Erie.
I asked Calvin what kind of an atmosphere this is. He's traveled a bit. He's played for some teams. He said, this is the most relaxed atmosphere I've ever had a chance to play in. And believe me, that pays big dividends late in the year and going into the playoffs because you have some emotional reserve. You got a little bit left in that gas tank. He said this is even more relaxed than Hawaii. I found that hard to believe. But he played in the World Football League over there for a while.
Well, you played for coaches who were intense week after week after week. Every game was the most important game of your life. Others who were not so intense. You know the feeling. Going long for Logan. Was he inbound? No. Did not catch the ball, but interference. A flag is down in the end zone. Donald Dykes with a bump.
Logan acting a little strange. Occasionally we get a call on the offense. Let's see what they're going to do. It is. Logan's going to go crazy now. They're going to call it on him, Dick.
So instead of first down at the 1 for Cleveland, they're going to bring it back and mark it off against, well, they haven't marked it off at all. It's still at the 21.
We have offsetting interference call. 85 offense, 25 defense. We'll replay the down.
He said 25. He meant 26, Donald Dykes.
Have you ever seen that? I don't think I've ever seen offsetting interference called in the same play.
We're about to see it.
Call. We got it right here. Down in the corner of the end zone. Logan working on Dykes. Watch right here. Well, obviously both shots took place before we got there with that camera, but an excellent excellent analysis by the official anyway, who's not going to give anybody the advantage from both fouls.
So we've had 3 plays from the 21, 2 of them involved offsetting penalties, but 2nd and 10. 5 men in the pattern. Hill, incomplete. 47, Jerry Holmes from West Virginia, rookie, able to hit Hill as he was going for that deflection.
Calvin Hill, the man they often want when he goes in there because he is so skilled at reading those defensive formations and movements, breaking into the open territory. Ball thrown slightly behind him. Sipe would like to pull the string on that one, get another chance at it. Had he had it down, I think Hill would have had the ball, although he probably would have been short of the first down.
Brian Sipe now looking at 3rd and 10 from the Jets' 21. As Rutigliano has said, when Sipe can't run or can't pass, he'll always have a place here. Now in trouble. He's going to run it. 20. Ooh, and run through a tackle to the 12-yard line. Hey, he put his shoulder down like a fullback and ran right over Ken Troy.
He's going to be very close. They're going to probably may have to bring out the measurement. Now it looks like he's a little short. Interesting choice for Tigliano, an unusual coach. Often will gamble, but not here. Hey, he wants some sure points on the board. He's going to his field goal team.
Well, the quarterback society, some 80,000 strong, were cheering for Rutigliano to go for it. They may not be disappointed. You can't tell. He has that opportunity. Paul McDonald, the former Southern California quarterback, is the holder. Don Cockcroft, the kicker. 30-yard attempt, if.
I asked Cockcroft about this field. He said, boy, you don't want to step in any of the holes. You get lost.
And too much time taken by the Browns. So instead of 4th and 1, it's now 4th and 6. That probably takes away the thought of a fake field goal.
I don't know that this is a fact, but it looked like they were kicking from a swampy area there.
Second count, still 4th down.
They may have decided to move it back 5 yards and get a better chunk of field to kick from. Certainly doesn't make any difference. It's well within Cockcroft's range.
Yes, if we look at where McDonald's going to kneel now, it appears to be firmer ground. See, 5 yards in front. Much soggier. Maybe that is the case, Merlin. Good point. 35-yard attempt.
Unit 2 gearing
on its way, and the Browns are in front. 35 yards for veteran Don Cockcroft. Timeout. We're at the midpoint of the second quarter. 7.5 minutes remaining. It's the Browns 3 and the Jets nothing. Browns have taken the lead 3-0 against the New York Jets. Don Cockcroft to boot it toward Johnny Lamb Jones and Bruce Harper.
Jets are used to playing on this kind of field. Shea Stadium very uneven and almost swampy at times, so they're comfortable in that way. But it's interesting when you get that bad feel late in the year. That's one of the advantages of an American-style kicker. Does not have that violent plant and twist. And Cockcroft, of course, ideally suited to kicking on this particular field.
All three Cleveland kickers in their history since '46. Lou Groza, Sam Baker, now Cockcroft, all the orthodox style. High and short to Harper at the 14, 20. And the man who has been right there with the leaders every year, the last 4 years in total yardage, is out to the 29-yard line. Tackled by Ricky Feature. A reminder, fans, that next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time, NFL 80 Special Edition. Join host Brian Gumble. Brings you all the latest news, scores, highlights, and more. And that will follow our basketball coverage. We're going to open up Maryland and Louisville. Then part of a doubleheader, football, San Diego Chargers and Seattle Seahawks. That's all next Saturday on NBC Sports. Jets trailing 3-0 from the 29. Todd to throw. Out of the backfield. Complete. Durking. And a flag is down as Durking goes out of bounds. Written out by Matthews at the 35. Holding Jets.
One of the frustrations, again, of a team that is not winning is that you get a lot of people who are trying to do a little too much. And they're perhaps trying to win the game by themselves. Certainly frustrating, I'm sure, for Jets fans who have followed their team and felt so good about the 8-8 seasons, and this was to be their launching pad, their great season.
Holding, 72 offense, still first down.
It's interesting, too, to look back at the record on the year for the Jets. Talking to Greg Buttle, he said at the end of 5 games, I looked at our record. We're 0-5, and he said, I know we're better than that. We did not deserve to be 0-5, but they were. And that's really kind of carried through. It's had its impact on everything they've done during this year.
And yet their wins have come against quality. They beat Atlanta, Miami, and Houston. First and 20, Newton picking his way out to the 26-yard line. Got back 7 of the yards. It'll be second down and 13. Ron Cruz, number 93, from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Actually started his college career at Notre Dame and then transferred to UNLV his last 2 years.
3 free agent linemen, Cruz, Marshall Harris, and Bradley. Interestingly enough, the second choice of the Browns this year, Cleveland Crosby, is not in the lineup. He was let go, and they kept 3 of the free agents who have come on to be excellent football players.
They really have done a tremendous job. Todd over the middle, complete. Wesley Walker down by Burrell at the 44. It's a first down. 17 yards for Richard Todd, who's hitting on 55% of his passes this year, and Walker, the big play man, averaging 21 yards a catch this year.
I'm sure our fans have heard before that Wesley is legally blind in one eye, has a cataract from birth. And I asked him, I said, have you ever thought about having an operation on that cataract because of the wonderful things they're doing on eyes now? He said, you know, I think that I have developed other senses that really help me perhaps as much or more than I would be helped by the vision in that eye.
That is interesting. Todd dumps it out to Durkin. And Durkin is out of bounds near midfield at about the 49-yard line. Charlie Hall made the tackle for Cleveland. It'll be second down and 5. Now let's go to New York.
Dick, whatever faint play.
And they're certainly announcing their strength today. Jets trail 3-0. Second and 5 from the 49. Newton to the 48 of Cleveland. Be short of the first down by a couple. Dick Ambrose from the University of Virginia made the tackle along with Alzado.
Joe Fields, 65, a fine center, in fact, ranked by these Cleveland coaches as second only to Mike Webster. You see the quickness there. Gets off the first block onto Bill Cowher. Does a good job of opening the way. They've missed him in the lineup. He's been out for a couple of weeks, is still playing injured. But when your center is such a key man, he calls the signals in the offensive line. He really controls the action down there. And when he's out of there, you miss him sorely.
3rd and 2. Fields has been doing a good job opening some holes up the middle. Jones in motion, trying to run it. Bruce Harper doesn't make it. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Clay Matthews, 57. He had help from Alzado.
2 years in a row, Cleveland took linebackers in the first pick. Clay Matthews was one. You'll see why right here. Good outside range. He's really come along to play well. Almost tears the helmet right off Bruce Harper's head. Jumps him short of the first down. The Jets must kick it away.
Matthews, whose daddy Clay was a player with the 49ers, and he has a brother who's a starting guard at Southern California, only a sophomore. Brother Bruce played in that big upset of Notre Dame yesterday. Dino Hall back at the 11. Ramsey's second pick today. Beauty. Hall fair catch at the 14-yard line. Almost misjudged that a bit.
The ball didn't turn over. It kept its tip up, dropped a little short.
Time out here in Cleveland, Ohio, with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left in the first half. The Browns have the ball, and they lead by 3.
I'm quarterback Joe Theismann.
Olson, Municipal Stadium. It rained during the night and this morning. Fortunately, a lot since the game began. You can see there are some chuck holes in the track here at Municipal Stadium. That's about the area where Don Cockcroft was going to kick the field goal. They took the 5-yard penalty, and he hit from 35.
I'm sure he did it on purpose, looking at that big hole. He just sunk right out of sight in there.
There are the NFL statistics. Dan Fouts, Brian Sipe, Reggie Rucker, first down. About on the yard line to match his number, out at the 33. Blinka made the tackle, and Browns have another first down, a 20-yard play.
Dick, I think that's the kind of pass that separates Brian Sipe from so many other quarterbacks. So many quarterbacks do not dare throw into the teeth of coverage like that. Sipe has such confidence in his arm and in his receivers, and has accuracy to go along with it. He threads the needle, put it right down between the defenders into the hands of a sure-handed receiver. And one thing we have to say, these receivers catch the football.
First down at the 34. Mike Pruitt. And a flag goes down as Pruitt is hit at the 39-yard line. Stan Blinka, Greg Buttle, and company. It's against Cleveland.
We're seeing an awful lot of holding calls on running plays. The reason for that is with the liberalized rules, offensive linemen get used to using those hands and the extension of those arms, which of course is not legal on the running play. And when they use it, you get that 10-yard mark off.
65 offense, holding, still first down.
Henry Shepard guilty. We have a visual quiz for you that we'll be showing you in a play or two. You might enjoy it. First, let's pause briefly. Station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WKYC TV3, television home of the Browns.
First down and 20. Brian Sipe to throw. Going long. Ricky Feature and no flag. Feature from Mississippi Valley, and he had beaten his man, Donald Dykes.
Donald Dykes is the quarterback that many people have picked on in past weeks. He gets good position here, fighting for the ball all the way, and I'm sure that's why we did not see a flag, because he was not looking at the pass receiver at all. He had his head up, he was going for that football, and the defender has an equal right to that football with the offensive player.
Second down, 20 for the Browns at their own 24 with 3.5 minutes remaining. Lyle Alzado is walking to the clubhouse of the Browns, so Alzado going in for repairs. That's the reaction you hear in the background. Alzado leading the field. Sipe complete to Pruitt. Oh, what a solid hit by Greg Buttle out of the University of Linebacking, Penn State. They've got 3 of them just on the Jet squad.
It's just like a farm system for him. I talked to Buttle before the game. He's their leader. 5 years. He's the old man on that offense. He said sometimes it's a little hectic in the huddle. You got some guys standing around, a few guys worried and frightened, and he has to be the old man, not only the father, almost a grandfather after his 5th year of this defensive team.
Boy, those Penn State traditions from Dave Robinson, Jack Hand, Laszlo Dick O'Neill, Scorpion, Ralph Baker, now a coach with the Jets, and more. 3rd and 16. Sipe on a scramble. Lyons and Klecko chasing. Incomplete to Pruitt. So the kicking team will come on for Cleveland.
Lyle Alzado, they tell us now, has a hamstring injury. Off under his own power, but I'm sure they're going to be checking that out. That would be a serious blow to the playoff hopes of these Cleveland Browns, because he's kind of been the heart of that defense. And even though he may not be their most outstanding player, he perhaps is their most emotional player.
Snap coming to Johnny Evans with Bruce Harper back for the New York Jets.
Ooh, he lost his footing.
Short kick. And down immediately at the 42-yard line is Ken Schroy, the up-back. First punt by Evans, and that soft footing not only bothered the punter Evans, and may have led to the hamstring problems of Alzado. You often see it on a soft field, such as the one they're playing on today.
Watch Evans as he plants. He gets a snap that takes him out to the side. Watch when he plants. Watch his foot slide right there. He's lucky to get that football away.
And he was under pressure from the Jets going for the block, Darrell Ray. Timeout in Cleveland. 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. The Browns by 3. As we wind down toward the intermission, and the Eagles now have jumped in front of Atlanta 14-3. An option pass from Louis Jamona to John Spagnola, 15 yards for the Eagles. 14-3 in the second quarter. Richard Todd from his own 42. Down the middle, right into the arms of Burrell. He is hit at the 32-yard line by the intended receiver, Wesley Walker. Burrell's 5th interception.
Ball badly thrown by Richard Todd. Poor communication between quarterback and receiver. Hard to tell where the breakdown is. Todd obviously felt the receiver was going deeper than he was. Ball completely overthrown right there into the arms of Clinton Burrell. Wesley Walker, number 85, the man that was the intended receiver. He did a good job of getting Burrell down.
Well, the difference in the way the two quarterbacks set up, too, Merlin, I'd like you to talk about it. Todd and Sipe from the 33. Sipe off to Greg Pruitt, and he's out of bounds at the 34. Sipe has very little foot movement as he sets up.
It's interesting, but I think you can tell how nervous a quarterback is by how those feet move. That's kind of like watching someone's hands. You know, you get a feeling for what's going on inside of them. And I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback who is more calm in the pocket than Brian Sipe.
And yet he's not a great physical specimen. He's 6'1", 195. He's not like a brute quarterback who can really take the punishment. He's just oblivious to it. 2-minute warning, 3-0 Cleveland. Everybody loves a winner, and coming to Cleveland, Ohio for the weekend, it was a delight to see these fans who are hungry for a championship team so very much involved, this entire city and area, in the Cleveland Browns' success. 10,000 were at the airport last Sunday to greet them from Houston. Sipe. Incomplete to Rucker, and Greg Buttle with a hand in the way for the Jets.
We talked about Brian Sipe's feet and how cool and calm he is. Let's just watch him go back. Quick drop and a very positive setup, even on the poor footing. That particular pass timed to hit just the minute he locked it up, so there was no standing time, but there's no wasted motion there, no dancing around. He just stepped up and fired the ball. Maybe we get him later on a longer pattern and watch how coolly he stands in the pocket.
The Eagles, Jaworski, number 1 in the NFL. Sipe, number 1 in the AFC. Second in the league. 2nd and 10. Oh! Withstands the pressure and completes it to Logan at the 48-yard line. There again, the concentration of Sipe. Hit hard, just unnerved by it all. Not unnerved, it just delivers a fine throw to Logan.
13 yards on that pass play to Dave Logan. Again, you have to believe that Brian Sipe probably has not only excellent vision, he has excellent vision, has the ability to read the defenses very quickly, and not only to concentrate on the receivers, but to feel that rush. You see him, that's what I call sifting in the pocket, sifting to find a little bit of room. Did it very well on that particular play.
The Browns take a timeout. 1:43 left in the half. They lead 3-0.
I've had lots of
For NFL 80. Browns trying to add to their 3-0 lead. First down at the Cleveland 47. 1:43 left in the half. Sipe to Mike Pruitt, incomplete. Buttle and Jackson were there to cover for the Jets. So Sipe is now 14 for 20, 150 yards.
Mike Pruitt, a little bit of a fake up into the line, and a flare out into the pattern. Got to believe that Sipe didn't like what he saw here. He threw that ball away. Didn't want to take the sack, didn't want to use any time off the clock. That's one of the reasons that he has been sacked so few times during the year. Not afraid to throw that ball away. And that's smart football, Dick.
And yet at the same time, he doesn't throw it away at the first sense of pressure. He will stand in there too.
And I think he's an odds player. He knows what the odds are.
Down the middle for Rucker, complete, but a flag is also down where one would suspect holding against the Browns.
Cody Risen again. That's 2 on the day. Mark Gastineau, 99, as we'd indicated, giving Risen all he wants. That's 33 Rucker. Rucker finding the hole in that enemy defense. He's an excellent receiver in that way. Doesn't have the great speed that some of the other receivers have.
63 offense, jammed his hands in the face of the defensive player.
Now that's something we're seeing more and more of. There was a time early in the year we were seeing a lot of that. Wasn't being called. Now it's being called on to the offensive linemen who are going to the face mask, going to the face or the throat of the offensive lineman. The officials being very hard on that these days. And I don't blame them. That's, as a defensive lineman, they hated that.
Keep your hands in your own face. Huh?
That's right.
Ball at the 38 with 1:33 left in the half. Sipe complete to Logan. Now there was a case where everyone fell down. The 2 Jet defenders fell down, and then Logan, with the advantage of being up, he too fell as he made his cut at the 49-yard line. A 13-yard gain for Logan. Is a great free sports star. He was drafted by, as everyone knows, the NBA Kings, the Cincinnati Reds, who thought he could be a fine pitcher. He also played shortstop. And, of course, with the Browns' third-round pick, he still is a very active basketballer during the summer and plays in a top semi-pro league, does Logan. And he talked to us yesterday about how that has really helped his concentration, that in catching a ball in traffic is so much like the techniques used in rebounding. You have to ward off the opposition, use your body to shield, and at the same time be able to grab the ball oftentimes with one hand.
We saw him do that very effectively in that tight game in Pittsburgh when they fired the ball over his head into the end zone, and Logan just went up and shielded the defensive man, Ron Johnson, away from the football and was able to control it in a situation that appeared to have no chance whatsoever on the football. Went up, brought it down, stayed in bounds. A marvelous feeling for where he is on the field, and great body control, 2 of the prime requisites for a fine receiver.
He said yesterday, I said, do you think you could have made it in the big leagues? He said, yeah, I had a good enough arm. I believe I could have made it. He does not lack confidence, and it's a quiet kind of believability that he has.
He's not belligerent, and I think he probably could have. He's not only a gifted athlete, but he's a gamer. He plays his best in the game.
Third down, 7, with 1:23 left in the half. The Browns in front, 3-0. Whoops. Rucker was offside, and so were the Jets. Intercepted. Will it be negating penalties? That's Dykes. Check it, Darrell Ray all the way out to the 47-yard line. Ray from Oklahoma with his 6th interception. Now it's a matter of whether or not it will count. Rucker was offside, but the Jets also had moved prematurely, but maybe drawn by Rucker's action.
I saw something I didn't like on that play. Reggie Rucker making no attempt to get after that interception and help get a piece of that tackle. You can't afford to have anybody coasting out there.
Here's Gene Barth.
We have offsetting fouls. Defense number 99 offside. Illegal motion on offense for flanker. Offsetting will replay the game.
Well, it's a break for the Browns. Rucker was in motion, but so was Gastineau.
Walt Michaels said, boy, you can't even buy a break. Rucker getting that first start. Watch him toward the end of this pattern. Ball thrown well over his head. Now, as they started back, he just kind of stood around. Darrell Ray coming up the sideline. He'll run almost by Rucker. You see Rucker standing there. I think if I'm Rucker's coach, I got to come out and get a hold of him and say, hey, just a second here.
We're talking playoffs here. The Browns lead 3-0, but they maintain possession. Still third and call it a short 7. Sipe over the middle. Nice play by 40. Bojak, Bobby Jackson from Florida State. Seminoles with a big win over rival Florida yesterday, and Jackson just had long enough nails to stop that one.
Rucker coming in motion. Tough pattern because he'll pull Bobby Jackson with him all the way across the field. Little stutter step. Jackson does a good job of reacting, and then some fine acceleration, good extension on the ball. Boy, that's as good a defensive play as you'll see. Walt Michaels says that Jackson deserves to be in the Pro Bowl.
He really likes him.
Yeah.
Evans to kick. First punt was 34 yards. Remember, he slipped. Ken Schroy back for the Jets. Evans nails that one. And it just goes into the end zone. Browns fans hoping with that soft turf that it might die inside the 5. So it'll be first down, Jets at their 20 with 56 seconds left. Time for tie, perhaps, to generate a tying drive. Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, games people play. Final round of the Bouncers competition with Mr. T. Heartwarming look at the Special Olympics. It'll be the policemen versus the cons in a football game, and a special look at some of America's Olympic hopefuls in girls gymnastics. All this and more. Games people play on Thursday night at 8 Eastern Time. See whether or not Walt Michaels trailing 3-0. We'll let Todd throw the ball. Yes, and he's in trouble. Matthews gets him at the 10-yard line. Matthews on a blitz, and no one touched him.
That's the first sack of the day for the Cleveland Browns, and they're not a blitzing team. This is an uncharacteristic play. Mistake right there by the backfield of the Jets. That, I think it was Tom Newton who came out of there. He's got to stop. He's going to stop his pattern, pick up that blitzing linebacker. He did not do it. Clay Matthews in scot-free and arrived there about the same time that Todd did, knocked him down.
Now the Jets letting the clock run. 29, 28, 27 seconds left. Second and 20. And now Newton out across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Matthews made the tackle after an 11-yard gain. 16 seconds, and unless someone calls time, yes, time has been called by the Jets with 15 remaining.
The Cleveland Browns wanted to get themselves into a 3-4 alignment this year, predominantly to get two fine linebackers into the middle together, Robert L. Jackson and Dick Ambrose. But the development of Clay on the outside and the steady play of Charlie Hall on the other side really has given them an outstanding linebacker core. And if you're going to play the 3-4 defense, you better have great linebackers. They have also been able to generate more pressure from the defensive line than they thought they were going to, and you combine that with some fine defensive backs. As we said, Marty Schottenheimer, our good friend Sam Rutigliano, very pleased with the kind of defense the Cleveland Browns are playing.
We talked about that visual quiz. I wonder if we have that picture ready. Larry Cirillo is our producer, and Eric Coyle, our director. A shot of a former Cleveland Brown great of 4 times an All-Pro linebacker. As Todd comes back into the Jets huddle, with time running out here in the first half, 15 seconds left. It will be third down and 9. Jones to the right, Walker to the left. That's the fastest tandem in the league. Out on the ground to Newton, 25, 30, and he gets out of bounds at the 31, stops the clock with 9 seconds. That'll be a first down for the Jets. Elvis Franks made the tackle. There he is, number 34. Handsome linebacker. Played with the Browns and with the 50s. Some great teams. Teammate Chuck Noll, Mike McCormick, a couple other NFL head coaches who were linebackers.
Don Shula, and for a few games.
There he is, Walt Michaels. A great player.
I think he'd like to see his Jets with the kind of record that those Browns of that era have.
Todd could be the last play of the first half, and he's going long for Jones. incomplete with 1 second remaining. Well covered as Lamb Jones drawing a crowd. There were 5 Browns over there. Ron Bolton, 28, up there to bat it away.
Kind of play that Atlanta made famous. Other teams use it too. They're hoping really for a penalty if they can, an interference call, which might set them up for a field goal. That ball hung up there. You see a lot of bodies in the area. Unfortunately, mostly all Cleveland bodies. Ball knocked away harmlessly.
I know the fans back in New York have heard the story, but some of you folks elsewhere have not, about Johnny Lamb Jones and his generosity in regard to his support of the Special Olympics. He donated his gold medal from the 76 mile the 400-meter relay to the Special Olympics. Also some monies, as he has said thank you back to some people in a great cause. Flags are down as Todd delivers to Jones, and he is down at the 34-yard line at the end of the first half. I believe the flag is against the supermarket of sound, and by Alcoa. Scoring of the first half at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, 3-0 the Browns leading the Jets. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. I'd like to add my personal congratulations on your being named to the College Football Hall of Fame. Some great people that are going to be inducted with you. I think it's a terrific honor, and I understand you're I should say this because he can't answer this anyway and wouldn't say it himself. The youngest man ever to be elected to College Football Hall of Fame, and that makes it even a more distinct honor.
Very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. A big banquet at the Waldorf Astoria on Tuesday, and it's very nice. So
that's a long time since Utah State.
Quite a while, I'll tell you. Yeah.
How about that first half? 3-0. Are you surprised at the score?
I think the Jets have played very well, and I felt that Cleveland was a little bit lethargic, and I think that could be expected. It's very difficult to get yourself ready for a game when you've watched one of your arch rivals like Pittsburgh eliminated in that game, and you know you've got a single game lead over Houston. I had the feeling they were sitting a little bit. They cannot sit on a 3-point lead. They're going to have to come back and play well in the second half. The other thing that was apparent is that their pass defense is still vulnerable. Todd is hitting 2/3 of the passes he's thrown, and that's one of the weaknesses that he exhibited coming into this game. The teams have been able to hit 62% of their passes against this Cleveland Browns defense. As we said, they're playing better, but they're going to have to improve on that, or they're going to have trouble in the playoffs. They're even getting there.
And actually, in terms of today's game, it would be a 3-3 tie, but for about that much. Leahy's 55-yard field goal try hit right dead center on that crossbar. Seemed to go straight in the air and just fell on Cleveland's side. No good.
No question about that. And as we said earlier, it's been that kind of year for the Jets. But they're also a team, as we said, that doesn't quit. I'm sure Walt Michaels is in there dressing room saying, look, here's a team that thinks they're going to the playoffs. We haven't had much of a year, but we can come out of this game ahead. All we need is one big play offensively, big play defensively. Let's get it in the end zone. We go ahead in the ball game.
Sam Ratigliano, we asked him yesterday whether or not, in light of the opponent and the fact that he was in first place, would he play a more conservative game? He said, no, we're going to try to take our offense to them and keep the ball in the air. Although they've not scored many points, they have put it up.
They have put it up. They only have about 31 yards rushing. They have a lot of yardage in the air, and certainly they're doing what they do best. We talked about SIPE'S aerial circus, and you can see why watching this first half. Teams around the league that have to play against Cleveland are very frustrated because they'll hit you with everything. They hit the short one, they hit the dinky one, the little throw-off pass, the screens, the draws. SIPE a master at reading defenses and at taking advantage of them.
All right, here are the first half official statistics, and Merlin, take a look at those, assimilate them for us, and give us your impressions.
Well, Dick, as we said, one of the things that you'll notice, a lack of rushing yardage for the Cleveland Browns. The Jets able to get 66 yards. The first down, 7 and 11. Again, not that much in the way of excitement. 2 turnovers for the Jets. 1, as we said, for the Browns. All those on interceptions. Time of possession, a little bit in favor of the Browns. Nothing like what the Jets went through last week out in Los Angeles, where the Rams controlled the ball 40 minutes out of 60. A very frustrating day for them. One of the things that the Jets have had trouble with, Dick, they've had trouble on third down conversions. In the last 2 weeks, they have converted only 3 out of 25 third down conversions. Boy, they've really had trouble against the teams on long yardage and third down.
They're 2 for 5 in the first half, so that's a remarkable improvement for them.
Much improved.
Brian Sipe warming up. One of the sidebar stories regarding Sipe is the fact that as a 12-year-old, he played on a world championship team. His Little League baseball team from the La Mesa, El Cajon area won the Little League World Series. That was pre-Taiwan, he mentioned. And he was the catcher, and he said he really loved it behind the plate, running the game. So even at the age of 12, although baseball would not become his sport, as a baseball player, his role was much like that of the football quarterback. He ran the game. That's how it stands at the start today. Houston right down the necks of the Browns should they be upset today at the tie again. Now the division and the conference record, and that's in case of a tie, how the tiebreaker system will work. Those are the first two issues. Cleveland and Houston with a bit better record. Cleveland has to play one other division opponent. That's Cincinnati, and the Bengals are snarling today. That could be a tough final game for them.
That's always a great rivalry between these two teams. A chance for you to look at how a tie between Houston and, since our Cleveland would be settled, how it would be settled in any of the divisions. Head-to-head competition, as you said, first, inter-division second.
First, the head-to-head already 1-1, so we can eliminate that. It would come down to inter-division or inter-conference, most likely. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. You know you can spend an hour and a half and just confuse everyone.
The possibilities are endless at this time.
I got the coin toss down pat. That's the last choice. The Jets kick it off to start this second half. Has not rained during the course of the game. That's been a break. Here comes Charles White, the USC Heisman winner. And he's down at the 23, and he was hit hard. Jolted by Bobby Jackson, number 40. Moresco also in on the tackle as the Browns will begin play in the second half with a 3-0 lead. Brian Sipe, the quarterback, will reintroduce that offense for you. Greg and Mike Pruitt, the setbacks. Dave Logan, Reggie Rucker, the outside receivers. Ozzie Newsome, the tight end. Line of Tom DeLeon at center. Shepard and DeLamelore, the guards. Deacon and Rison, the tackles. Logan split left. Rucker flanked right. Mike Pruitt to the 25, slips out close to the 28-yard line. And we notice that Cleo Miller in the backfield for the first time, number 30. Crosby and Moresco with that last tackle.
Cleo Miller made a lot of yardage last week against Houston. In fact, the star of that game. We talked about Gastineau in the pass rush. There's a good move by Gastineau sliding down inside. Ozzie Newsome, 82, trying to block. That's, talk about a mismatch. There it is, right there.
Lyle Alzado left the field with about 3 minutes remaining in the first half with a hamstring. He apparently it is not serious, and he may play in the second half. 2nd and 5. Miller to the 30, and that's all.
They say that Ken Schroy, fine defender for the New York Jets, is not playing because he apparently took a shot to the kidney. Something that happens frequently. Bodies get thrown around out there. Certainly hope that's not a serious injury. Apparently not, but he is not going to play today. One of the things we're going to see, though, I don't know that we're going to see Alzado back unless they're really sure he was not going to hurt that thing any further, because even though Sam Rutigliano says we're going to go aggressively at this game, he doesn't want to lose a guy like Alzado for the rest of the year. He'll be a little cautious in that regard.
Speaking of losses that severe, our best to Leon Gray, the great tackle of the Houston Oilers, one of the fine quality people in this league, out with the Achilles tear. That's going to be a sore vacancy for the Oilers. 3rd and 3, first down to Greg Pruitt. He's tackled at the 38. Stan Blinka with a stop, but the Browns get a new series of downs.
Calvin Hill also wide open on that play, and amazing that Sipe just continues to attack that secondary. The Jets not able to do much in stopping those short passes, but the Browns unable to capitalize on their opportunities. Have found ways of stopping themselves as they move down the field.
First down at the 38-yard line. The word now on Ken Schroy is bruised ribs, and he will not return in the second half. Moresco has replaced him, number 37. First down play. Sipe complete to Logan, fumble, and it's recovered by the Jets. Now they say an incomplete pass. The official on the spot did not signal incomplete pass until the ball had been recovered.
This is one area, obviously a judgment call by the officials, but it's one area in which the officials are going to be a little tough on the receiver. They want to see that ball well within his grasp and control, Logan did not have full control of that ball before he was whacked. You watch it right there. It just starts to turn. The ball knocked. A vicious hit by Bobby Jackson. A small player, but boy, he packs a wallop.
At 5'10", 175, be mindful of those little cornerbacks of the Rams. Pat Thomas, who likes to hit as well. The Bengals trying to knock Baltimore out of the playoff picture at a 24-6 lead. That's right at the half. 2nd and 10 from the 38. Sipe down the middle. Rucker, first down at the 45 of the Jets. Covered by Bobby Jackson, 17 yards, and the Browns are on the move.
Reggie Rucker still finding holes in that secondary. I indicated to you earlier that Brian Sipe felt that if he could have time to throw, it would not be difficult for him to unlock this Jet pass defense. He said they're basically a very simple zone defense. They don't try and fool you. They don't try and blitz. If I have time to throw, I'll be able to tear them up. He's done it all day.
Although the score doesn't reflect it, only 3-0 Browns. First down from the 45, takes to Pruitt, and he throws to Pruitt. 40, 35, 30. And out of bounds inside the 30, but a flag is down. Back where Sipe threw the football.
Sipe standing back there. The official threw his flag. Sipe caught it and threw it down angrily on the crowd. A little play acting out there. Obviously, they'll call it back. I think another holding penalty. It's been a frustrating day. Again, I think quite possibly in their efforts to stop Gastineau on this side.
Gene Barth.
65 offense, holding, still first down.
Henry Shepard's second holding call. Buffalo and Los Angeles, two teams looking ahead to the playoffs. And in the third quarter, the Bills, Chuck Knox, the former Rams coach, has the edge at 7-0. You think that is an important game, not just for Buffalo, but for Chuck Knox. First down 20 at the 45 of Cleveland. Pruitt on the draw, and he's met rudely by Greg Buttle, and Buttle had some help. Also in on the tackle is the Pile 74, Abdul Salam, who played in nearby Kent State. Larry Falk, his college name.
They were trying to take advantage of Gastineau's attack on that one. Gastineau coming to the outside. Risen didn't even get down into a stance. Look, stayed in a two-point stance. Now they're going to draw inside. Gastineau trying to spin, really spun himself out of the play, but a good play from the inside by the linebacker Buttle to stop that for no gain. Second long yardage. Not a good down for any quarterback, I'll tell you.
So we'll see Brian Sipe looking for those receivers. He's got both Rucker and Logan right. Newsom split left, and Greg Pruitt in the pattern as well. It's Logan, 40, 35. He is to the 31. First down, Cleveland. Well, they needed 20, and they got 24.
Well, we talked about Sipe's calm. Watch how calmly he sits in the pocket here. Locks himself up. He'll just wait and throws on the break. Logan doing a good job of getting away from Jackson and getting upfield for that first down. He looked like a big running back as he opened up in the secondary.
Logan has 5 catches today. He started with 42 on the year. 3-0 Cleveland. 4.5 minutes the Browns have had the ball opening this second half. There's Mike Pruitt to the 29. And again, to underline a feeling that I had, Merlin, in the first half, you've got to credit the Jets with the way they're hitting. They didn't come here just to relax. They're playing the Browns tough.
Well, and in spite of the fact that Sipe has been able to throw the ball effectively against them, you look up on that scoreboard, we've only got 3 points in this game. And that's not a safe lead for anyone.
Under the 10-minute mark in the third quarter, Browns taking the kickoff to start the second half. A long time-consuming drive. Have it 2nd and 7 at the 28. Sipe in trouble, gets it away. Mike Pruitt to the 20, to the 19, and a first down. Sipe eluding the rush of Marty Lyons.
Sipe doesn't like to run, but he is an active quarterback, and he has good body control. He's a good athlete. You saw him you'll see him here, use that ability. Lyons wide open. Watch the little sidestep there, the little brushy side, almost a bullfighter move, and then a quick little throw to the inside. Pruitt doing a good job of getting a couple of extra yards.
It's a first down for Cleveland, just inside the Jet 20. 9:05, and the clock running here in the third quarter. Sipe has his backs in the pattern again. Great protection. And throws it away. Logan, well covered, as the linebacker Crosby and Donald Dykes double-teamed him. Here's a couple of quick scores. It's 3-0 here in Cleveland in the third quarter. The St. Louis Cardinals leading the Lions 7-3. Lions trying to hold on to first place or a share thereof in the Central Division. Ed Murray hit a field goal for the Lions, and the Bears have a 7-0 lead against Green Bay on Walter Payton's one-yard run. That's in the second quarter. Sam Rutigliano, Brooklyn Sam, and Walt Michaels, who played his pro ball right here in this stadium. 2nd and 10. Inside handoff to Pruitt, and he gets 6 yards as he cracks down to the 14. And Buttle might well have saved a touchdown, as Pruitt was really at a full head of steam. He's a big guy, but he's broken some very long runs these last 2 years for the Browns.
This is a smart call. Good play, trap block up inside. Shepard 65 opening the way. Buttle getting across. Pruitt's so physical when he explodes up into that line. That's what you need from a draw play back, is someone who gets a quick start. And of course, your linemen coming hard on the pass rush have little chance of reacting and getting him stopped.
From the 14, a key play, 3rd and 4. Sipe to Pruitt. Going to be very close. They mark it right at the 10-yard line. It's a matter of where they spot the ball, if it's 1st and goal or 4th and inches, and we'll have a critical measurement.
Well, of course, the sticks are all the way on the other side, and the stick you see on that side is just marked from observation, so it could well be as much as a foot or so off. Apparently, the Browns feel they have it, although maybe not. They've sent in 2 big blockers to their tight ends, McDonald Oden. Oh, and this is where Sam Rutigliano will show you a little of his reasoning. He doesn't want another field goal. He wants a touchdown. Got to believe he's right in this situation, because still, with 6 points on the board, 1 touchdown and extra point would put the other team up.
Brian Sipe working out of that open huddle, the old Notre Dame-style huddle that's so rarely used now in the National Football League. He has Cleo Miller with him in the backfield, along with Mike Pruitt, 2 fullbacks. He has Newsom and Oden, 2 tight ends, 4th and a foot, with Willis Adams, number 80, wide right, the flanker right. Pruitt, I believe he has it. He didn't need but a foot. It looks as if he got a yard, and 1st and goal. It's been a long drive, Merlin. Over 7 minutes used already in the second half on this one drive by the Browns.
Excellent drive, and you often hear it said, but it's certainly true. The first series or 2 after the half often determine the outcome of the second half. Cleveland establishing control right here, but they still haven't got the point. If the Jets can hold them out, might get them back in the ballgame.
Pruitt. Touchdown! The very term fullback conjures up power, and Mike Pruitt wore that title well on that 9-yard run.
An explosive run. Pruitt goes right up into the middle. 65, Shepard, 54, DeLeon, 64, DeLongmalure, all doing an excellent job of springing him, but I think he made about the last 4 yards on his own, just running over people.
Cockcroft's kick is good. So the Browns open the second half with a drive of over 7.5 minutes, 77 yards, 14 plays, and now they have a 10-0 lead. He's kicking for Jones at the 12, 20. Ooh, as he hit at the 31-yard line. Tremendous tackle by number 20, Judson Flint. And there are the numbers on that long, well-executed drive by the Cleveland Browns. I don't think that's anything that makes a coach more proud than one of those. That means you haven't made mistakes, you've done it well.
Of course, the longer the drive, the more chance for error. Certainly one that consumes that many plays, 14 plays to take them that long across the field. And you got a chance to eat that clock up. You do a lot of good things with a drive like that.
The other team can't beat you when you've got the ball in the lead. 10-0 as Todd, first play of this second half. Plenty of time. Throws to Newton. 40, 45, 47. Robert L. Jackson made the tackle, and Tom Newton. He was a special teams player in the past for the Jets. He's been forced into a starting role and a prominent role and has really played well for New York. 18 yards on that play. Other scores. Minnesota has scored on a Ted Brown run in the third quarter at Tampa Bay to cut the Buccaneers' lead to 10-7. First down at the Jets' 47. Scott Durking to midfield. Gain of about 3, 2nd and 7. Marshall Harris, who was an 8th-round pick of the Jets last year, number 90 for the Cleveland Browns. He walked out of camp to pursue a career in commercial art. Worked not only for a New York advertising firm, but for a Dallas advertising firm, and now the starting left end for the Cleveland Browns. Outstanding artist, and he has been just outstanding as the left end for the Browns. In fact, Alzado said he should be the NFL Rookie of the Year. Well, it can't be that. He was drafted last year. But Newton on the short pass, and he's got another first down at the Browns' 39. Bill Cowher, 53, made the tackle.
We talked about the vulnerability of this Brown defense to the passing game. The fact that they were hit successfully by Todd in the first half on 2/3 of his passes, been giving up 62% of the passes thrown against them. They've got to improve in that area if they're going to play championship quality defense. I'm sure that Marty Schottenheimer, defensive coach, Sam Martigliano, very concerned about getting people shut off on the passing game.
5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Todd on first down. Down the middle to Jones. Incomplete at the 20-yard line. Boy, Jones, you can just see with that electricity, the speed, he catches that ball in another half step and he's gone. Burrell just able to stay with him and break up the play.
Last week against the Los Angeles Rams, Jones caught a pass and left everybody laying out there on the field. One of the most exciting runs that I've seen this year in the NFL by a wide receiver, but he still does not have the kind of confidence that he needs to get his hands on that football and put it away. When his speed and his receiving ability come together, look out.
Watch out. 2nd and 10. Todd complete to Jones at the 20. They won't catch him. Touchdown, New York. As Jalen Jones caught the ball, a little jam and a reversal of field, and the Jets are on the board.
Oh, almost like queuing up Jones. We talk about a move he made last week. Put a fine move on there. And, of course, once the man with that kind of speed breaks away from you, you might as well forget it. So they say when he's even, he's leaving. Todd here getting time to throw the football, not getting the kind of pressure that he had earlier. And Jones right there, that's Clinton Burrell. He just, again, a little sidestep, and look out. He's in the end zone before you even know it.
Pat Leahy drills through the extra point. So a Todd to Lamb Jones touchdown play has quieted this big partisan crowd in Cleveland with 5:09 left in the third quarter. It's the Browns 10, the Jets 7.
Not to go for the field goal. Had they kicked the field goal, they would have been behind right now. We also talked about the vulnerability of this defense to the passing game. Todd exploited it beautifully. Now they've got to get this going, get some more points on that board.
10-7. The kick is short. Taken by Dino Hall at the 10, to the 20, the 30, the 40, and Dino Hall all the way to the 50-yard line. 40 yards for the exciting Hall, one of the smallest men in the National Football League, 5'7" and 165.
Whoa. Some exciting blocking on that play. Dino Hall getting upfield. 2 Jets still down on the field. Did you see the explosion of that little man? He's really been good for these Cleveland Browns. Keith Wright, their normal kick returner, just returning to the lineup, dressed out today but not able to play. They're soaking some of the mud off Dino Hall.
The pride and joy of Glassboro State has put the Browns at midfield. We have a timeout. 4:57 left in the third quarter. Cleveland leading 10-7. Browns leading the Jets 10-7. The attendance 78,454. That's about the average this year in Cleveland, 78,000 a game. In 8 games, they've drawn 620,000 fans to Municipal Stadium. The injured Jet player was Bobby Jackson. He left the field under his own power, but that means 2 defensive backs are now out for the Jets.
That's Marty Schottenheimer exhorting his defensive group. He said, hey, we cannot turn over points that quick to our opposition and expect to win.
From the 50, Sipe to Logan. Oh, what a good catch by Logan. He picked that one right off his laces for a 10-yard gain. Donald Dykes made the tackle.
Dick, I don't think I've ever seen 3 receivers with collectively better hands than this group that Cleveland has. And Logan and Rucker and Newsom, they just don't drop the football.
6 catches for Logan. We pause briefly for station identification from Cleveland. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WKYC TV3 Television, home of the Browns.
6-1, over.
Ryan Sipe, 20 of 30 passing. Both wide receivers right. Gives to Mike Pruitt. Ooh, he ran into Marty Lyons, 93, after a 3-yard gain. Lyons, rookie last year, had 3 sacks and 3 fumble recoveries. Despite an assortment of injuries, he continues to play very well, and this is 2nd season.
Looking ahead to another season, the improvement shown by this Jets defensive line, certainly a bright spot in their year. They haven't had many, but that certainly is one.
Pressure on that defense. Jesse Johnson, 27, has replaced Bobby Jackson, and Moresco's in for Shroy at safety. Sipe to Rucker, 30-yard line, as they went after Johnson on that play. He's a rookie from Colorado.
The name of the game is concentration. Reggie Rucker is going to show you how to do it from his position, wide receiver. Watch the total concentration on the ball. He's being hit just as he receives that football. Doesn't worry about the hit. Johnson hitting him, trying to take the ball away from him. Rucker had no part of it, pulls it down.
Reggie Rucker, in Super Bowl 5, 10 years ago, he was the starter for the Dallas Cowboys. Lance Rensel was hurt, and Rucker, a youngster out of Boston University, started for him. Sipe, incomplete, almost deflected by Newsom downfield to Ricky Feature. The ball was not intended for Feature, but for Newsom around the 15. A little tall, but almost worked out for Cleveland. Other scores. Cincinnati pounding Baltimore 31-6 would all but eliminate the Colts. Atlanta 17 and Philadelphia 14. Touchdowns. Bartkowski, a couple touchdown passes to put the Falcons in front in the third quarter. St. Louis trying to spoil Detroit's hopes for a title, 14-3 in the second quarter. The Bears lead Green Bay 14-0 on another Peyton touchdown. That's in the second quarter. Here it's 10-7 Cleveland. Greg Pruitt almost eluding the tackle. He used to rip away from those when the tearaway jerseys were allowed, but not anymore. Blinka made the stop. Let's go to New York for this update.
Thank you, Dick Enberg. The Bengals are laying it on the Colts at Riverfront. This is Jack Thompson in for the injured Kenny Anderson, throwing a 17-yard touchdown pass to Dan Ross. It's 31-6, Dick.
Thank you, Bryant. And here in Northern Ohio, it's the Browns and the Jets. Cleveland in front by 3. A big play for the Browns. 3rd and 9. Rucker right, Logan left, Newsom the tight end on the right side. Sipe gets away from pressure. And not now, as down he goes. Marty Lyons collared him back at the 35, and a flag is down in the secondary, and we could have a hold against Buttle of the Jets. Sipe gets it with him. He said, "Your rebuttal, Mr. Buttle, will come after my charge."
With an illegal check on number 51, but it was not a penalty because the quarterback was out of the pocket. No foul.
Good point. So Mr. Buttle did a fine job of arguing himself, and Walt Michael says that's why I like intelligent players.
Chance to see the play for yourselves. Sipe is indeed forced out of the pocket, drifting across. Watch something very good here, though. Sipe directing his receivers as he folds across. Not really concerned about anything but getting the pass off. Marty Lyons doing a good job of getting across. Had he not been there, that might well have been a touchdown because I think Buttle was beaten deep.
And Sipe, Evans moves up under center. A fake, a reverse. This is Adams at the 40, 35, 25, and I don't know. I don't think he made it. He's short of the 20-yard line. He had to get inside the 20. So Evans, out of punt formation, he's a former quarterback at North Carolina State. They tried the reverse, almost fumbled the exchange.
Almost fumbled the exchange, but almost made the first down, too. You figure if that ball goes into the end zone, you get it back to the 20 anyway. Not so much risk in a play like that. Obviously, Retigliano wants the rest of the league, wants the opposition to know that he's not afraid to do something like that either.
Comes up just 3 yards shy. The Jets have the ball. 1:35 left in the third quarter, and now it's New York with a chance to go in front. Durkin behind the block of his center again. Joe Fields gets about 5. Henry Bradley with the tackle. Rams have tied Buffalo at 7 in the third quarter.
Ray Malavasi, a former assistant to Chuck Knox when he was out in Los Angeles. Of course, he's the head coach. They're going head-to-head. Two teams very much would like to win today. The Rams need to catch up with Atlanta. Buffalo needs to preserve their tie in the division race.
2nd down and 6 for Todd. Going long for Jones. Incomplete at the 21-yard line. Clinton Burrell on the coverage of Jones, and that's a handful.
Boy, you get a feeling for the respect that they have to show to Lamb Jones because of that speed. Burrell just sprinting out to stay in front of him. Jones able to close that gap just in a few strides. He really does have explosive speed.
Well, Jones goes back. I'm just going to verbally run down all the scores. Merlin, I know fans around the country concerned about the others, and with Bryant's update and all, here's how they stand. Washington leading San Diego 23-10 third quarter. Cincinnati 31-6 over Baltimore third quarter. Atlanta 17-14 lead at Philadelphia third quarter. 7-7 tie, Rams and Buffalo third period. Third period, it's 10-7 Tampa Bay over Minnesota. Second quarter, 14-3 St. Louis over Detroit. 21-0 the Bears lead Green Bay in the second quarter. And it's 10-7 here in Cleveland, the Browns over the Jets. 3rd and 6 for Todd. Dumps it off to Harper, 30, 40, 50. He's all the way to the Cleveland 43. Bruce Harper, leading Jets receiver. He had 40 coming into the game, and that was a 31-yard play.
Harper, a spot player, but an explosive player. Michaels puts him in. They spread the defense with that speed, and they drop it underneath to Harper. Harper puts a great move on Clarence Scott there. Gets him about 7 or 8 extra yards.
And did you see Lamb Jones threw a pretty good block downfield. Here it is on a little delay. They caught Jackson on a blitz to the inside. That opened it up. Watch number 20. Jones will block him. Well, not a bad block for the wide receiver. And Harper with a good gain to the 44. This time it's Durkin raising a divot as he stopped and then finally went out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Ron Bolton on the coverage. And that's a good first down gain. of about 7, and the end of the third quarter, and there's still plenty of drama at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland. The Browns need a win to stay in first place. The Jets are driving toward a possible tying field goal or more. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday in a 2-hour special.
Municipal Stadium in Cleveland. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The Cleveland Browns with a 10-7 lead over the New York Jets, but the Jets have the ball and a 2nd and 3 at the 36-yard line of Cleveland.
We talked about the fact, Dick, that the Jets are not quitters. They certainly have positioned themselves for a go-ahead touchdown or a tying field goal right here.
Yeah, their overtime win over Houston 2 weeks ago put Cleveland in the driver's seat. Now they're trying to knock them right back off the wheel. Todd off to Newton, and he plows for a first down to the 32-yard line. Robert Lee Jackson made the tackle. Tom Newton doing a fine job up the middle, and you can see the difference that Joe Fields, the center, makes in the center of that Jets line. He did not play against Houston and the Rams. Stats after 3 quarters official. Give them pretty close.
Lots of passing yardage for the Browns, as you might expect. Lots of yardage on both sides. Pretty one-sided control numbers. 27 minutes for the Browns, a little over 17 for the Jets.
Todd going to Newton to the 24-yard line, and we have a flag down and a personal foul against the Cleveland Browns, roughing the passer. So a gain by Newton, and they're going to tack on another 15, or at least half the distance. We'll take it down to about the 12-yard line.
Jerry Wilkinson, I believe, number 90. The man that... No, Marshall Harris. Marshall, interestingly enough, quoted in the papers quite a bit this week. The Jets were very angry.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 90 defense. First down.
I think there's always a little animosity when a guy leaves a team. Even though he was only in the Jet camp a week, this was a big proving day for him. He's now made a very costly mistake that may prove to be the undoing of his team.
Well, Todd and the Jets are in obvious field goal range for a tie, but they're looking for the lead. First down from the 12. Todd has a lot of room to run. 10, 5, and slides in at the 4. Underneath the tackle of Clinton Burrell, the right corner. So it'll be 2nd down and about 2 after an 8-yard roll by Todd. He led all quarterbacks in scoring touchdowns last year with 5. You see he's got 4 this year.
Todd not afraid to run that football. Still much the same as Sipe. Not a quarterback who loves to run, but capable of doing it. Good athlete. Picked it up there. Got him into a 2nd and 3 situation inside the 5-yard line. A lot of pressure right now on the Cleveland defense.
Now the Browns, who were, I guess, the biggest favorite in the National Football League this entire weekend, and they find themselves digging in. Lyle Alzado is down the defensive line. Todd, play action. Wide open, Mickey Schuler, touchdown. And Walt Michael celebrates for the moment as the Jets are in front for the first time today. As Schuler from Penn State, he has caught 21 passes this year, and that's his 2nd touchdown. He's always been a good touchdown maker.
He has. Excellent faking by Todd right there to Kevin Long going into the line. Schuler just slipping outside. I think Tom Darden, perhaps the man that was supposed to get after it, caught up in the traffic. Easy touchdown.
Big extra point, and Leahy just hooks it in good. You saw Pat Ryan doing a good job of handling that snap in the soft part of the field. So it's a 4-point lead for the green and white of the Jets with 13 and a half minutes left in the game.
I'm still looking up at a 26-10 deficit. Let's go back to Cleveland.
Well, New Yorker has found his way to Municipal Stadium to root for the Jets, and so is our helicopter. NBC affiliate here in Cleveland, Ohio. Great A, and it could be very dark for Cleveland as they're down 14-10. Dino Hall breaking tackles to the 30, and he's out to the 32-yard line. Jesse Johnson and Kenny Lewis made the tackle for the Jets. I'd like to thank our affiliate, News Hawk 3, the helicopter from WKYC TV's Action 3 News. Just 3 minutes for the Jets to take the lead. A 5-yard touchdown tied to Schuler. That was an impressive drive for New York.
Very impressive drive, a frustrating drive. Sam Bertigliano, you saw him just after that drive, very calmly talking to his troops on the sideline. They have made come from behind victories routine here and seem to want every game to go right down to the wire. The script is being followed here again today, Nick.
The Cardiac Kids. Sipe going long. To Rucker. First down at the 23-yard line. They picked on the rookie cornerback, Jesse Johnson, who's playing for the injured Bobby Jackson. 44 yards on the throw.
Now with 2 injuries already in that secondary for the Jets, Sipe gets enough time to do a good job of holding out Gastineau on the side. Sipe waits until the last possible second. Johnson had simply lost sight of Rucker, who got to the outside, made an easy reception. They've got it now on the 24-yard line. They'd like to get it all the way into the end zone.
Well, at a 45-yard throw officially from the 24. Sipe dumps it off to Mike Pruitt. 30, 20. Oh, he's strong. All the way to the 15-yard line. A gain of 9 yards for Pruitt. Greg Buttle made the stop.
Buttle there along with Blinka. But I'll tell you, Pruitt made him pay for that tackle. I think they hit him, where they hit him, if they'd have been able to stop him, would have only been about a 2-yard gain. But watch the way he lowers his shoulder. He'll get hit. Butler 51 coming across, Blinka 54 coming up inside. Watch him right there. He just lowers his shoulder, blows in there for another 3 or 4 yards.
Second, call it 2, a short 2. Pruitt looks as if he has enough for the first down as he's at the 13-yard line. Mark Gastineau made the tackle. Tucking a score. Green Bay on the board for the first time with 2:35 left in the first half. A Dickey to Lofton 15-yard touchdown, but the Bears lead at 21-7.
Cleveland offense showing you why they have been so respected around the league the last couple of years. Sipe wasting absolutely no time in getting down the field, positioning his team at the 13.5-yard line. They now have the possibility of getting a first down inside of the 5. Somehow that's a better situation than being sitting right there on the 10 with no chance except to go into the end zone.
From the 13-yard line. Sipe play action. Good protection. And Ozzie Newsome steals it away from Blinka. It's a catch at the 2-yard line. Oh, my.
The official in the end zone screened away from the play, appealed for help from the other officials on the outside, let it go as a reception. Newsome right on the ground as he sucked it up. Watch Logan here, he thought it was coming to him. Wisely let it go, it went on through to Ozzie Newsome.
The Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Newsome. First and goal at the 3-yard line. Donald Oaten. Second tight end, bookends the line with Newsome. Cleo Miller. Down at the 4-yard line, and the Jets were ripping at that football. Darrell Ray spearheaded the charge.
Neither of these teams successful on the year with their running games. Certainly a greater disappointment for the Jets than it has been for Cleveland, that did not expect to have a powerful running attack. But Cleo Miller, as we said, did give them some great power running last week in that game against Houston. They've now put the receivers back on the field, Dick.
Loss of 2, Merlin, on that play, so it's second and goal at the 5. Bertigliano took out the blocking strength, came back with Rucker. Logan left. Pruitt and Pruitt behind. Sipe. Crowd on its feet. Sipe. Touchdown, Greg Pruitt. And the Cardiac Kids have the hearts thumping again in Cleveland. Point after, Cleveland in front. by 2. Good. 9:27 left in the game, and the Browns are back in front 17-14.
Brian Knight said it earlier. If you give me time to throw that football, if my offensive line can keep away from me, I'll get the points on the board. He proved it here. Again, stretching people out. Pruitt coming out of the backfield. Sipe picks it quickly, rifles a shot inside, and he's wide open. A little over-the-shoulder dunk. Again, you see the cool of Sipe. The ability to read the defense and deliver the ball on target. And again, the catching ability. Everybody on that Brown team seems to have soft hands, Dick.
Now, Pruitt, early in his pro career, worked hard on his receiving talent. He had stiff hands, they thought, in some corners, but he's really worked and become an outstanding receiver out of the backfield.
Well, I think the other thing that's important, Sipe is a finesse quarterback. He really knows how to put the ball there with the right amount of zip on it. Doesn't throw the ball hard unless he has to. Does not have a powerful arm. But this whole Brown offense is structured to the kind of passes that Sipe can throw.
We've had quite a second half after a 3-0 first half. Each team has had the ball twice, and each team has scored 2 touchdowns. Well, check that. Cleveland once was stopped, recall, on the fake punt, and the Jets got it to 22 and marched for a score. That's the only time a team with the ball has not scored. Now it's the Jets' turn as Cockroft hits it deep down the middle. Harper at his goal line. He's in trouble, and down he goes at the 17. Number 87, Weathers, Curtis Weathers, made the hit. Now here in Cleveland with 9:17 left, the Browns lead. Let's go to New York and Bryant. The Oakland Raiders are rooting for Washington, and you can just feel those fans down in Texas pulling for the underdog Jets, as Oiler fans would like to see an upset here. Jets ball at the 17. To Harper. On the screen at the 20. 30. Oh, he almost broke free at the 32-yard line. Ron Bolton was the last Brown jersey in the way.
Harper filling the same kind of role that Greg Pruitt now filling for the Cleveland Browns. They get him in the game. They want to use him. Using him out of the backfield as a receiver, slipping the ball quickly to him. And again, what makes that play effective is the respect you must show to those blazing wide receivers who are really spreading the defense.
First down at the 32. 8:38 left. Todd again dumps it. Newton. Written out by Matthews at the 41-yard line, and that's close to another first down.
Harper, not known for his ability to block, one of the smaller players, has to take on Charlie Hall. Well, you got to take on one of those big linebackers, get after his legs, get down there and bite him.
He doesn't have to go down very far, Harper, at 5'8". Other scores, Philly has tied Atlanta at 17. That's with 11 minutes left in the game in Philadelphia. And Detroit pulls within 4 at St. Louis. Billy Sims on a 1-yard touchdown run. Here at 17-14, Cleveland. Second down, a long one. Newton, head down.
Very
close.
close.
The 44. Looks as if he made it. Harrison Bradley, those 2 youngsters in the defensive line for the Browns making the tackle, but not until Newton had the yardage.
Lyle Alzado back in the game, and I'm sure he asked to be put back in the game. Not the kind of thing you'd like to take a chance with, but this game, even though it's against a team that's only won three games on the year, just as important in the one-loss column as every other game, and it's one that the Browns know they cannot afford to lose.
Brian Sipe, talk about him when the Browns had the ball, but he might be after a personal record. Todd, meanwhile, gets it to Harper. He's at the 50, and he slips into Browns territory at the 47, and again, almost a 10-yard gain before Bradley and Ambrose can make the tackle. And Harper's such an interesting story in so many ways. One, out of little Kutztown State, he was recommended by Walt Michaels Jr., the son of the head coach of the Jets, as a teammate in that school. And as a free agent, the Jets got Harper, and they've been happy. that they had a special scout in that school.
As we said, he's a spot player. He's a small player and cannot really take the hammering of playing a whole game. But excitement, he leads the league in all-purpose yardage, and he's earned all of it, believe me.
Second down, 1. Play action. Todd throws it away. Burrell, the closest player, but it was thrown, so Burrell wasn't going to intercept. Just to complete the Michaels football family story, we understand a younger Michaels son was just a member of the New York Metropolitan Football High School champions. So very much a part of that family life.
Walt Michaels would feel a lot better if he can get his Jets out of town with a victory here today. Having played through some of those long seasons, I know how it feels, and for a coach who's very proud of his staff, proud of the young people he's assembled, Walt Michaels is not happy with that record, as I'm sure the Jet fans are not.
Third and 1. Tight formation, and up the middle again, Kevin Long, and he almost broke it for a touchdown. He's to the 40-yard line. Long used sparingly today because of injuries. 330 yards on the season, and 20 receptions, but on the ground, he has the first down at the Cleveland 40, and the clock is running. 6:34, 6:33. Boy, this is a tough one on the Browns legion of fans. They expected this to be an easy one against the Jets, some of them. New York's given them all they could want. Believe in 15, Super Bowl 15 in New Orleans in January. Jerking, caught in the backfield. There's a big play by Charlie Hall.
Charlie Hall doesn't get that much publicity, but had a great game last week defensively. Texas boy that enjoyed going home to show the folks what he could do, but that's a fine play right there. When things are not going well defensively, you need a play like that to kind of fire you up. Now, of course, they put a great deal of pressure on Richard Todd. Second down and about 16 and a half, 17 yards to go. He's got to come up with a very big play.
Whereas before, Todd has used first down and that short pass to get himself 7, 8, 9 yards. Now it's 2nd and 16. We'll see if the Browns come with a blitz. To Harper, incomplete. Harper making sure that wasn't a lateral, but the pass was thrown forward. It'll be 3rd and 16.
We talked to you about the kind of respect that they're paying to Lamb Jones and the kind of respect they're giving downfield. Jones wants to be a little Banny Rooster down there. He and Bolton going after each other pretty good. I'll tell you, he hasn't backed down too many times today. Interesting young man.
Out of the University of Texas at 5'11" and 180. Second player picked in the draft. He goes left. Wesley Walker, almost equal speed to the right. Browns trying to protect that 3-point lead. Todd. Fumble, and then picks it up, and now throws. Incomplete. He had Jones wide open over the middle, but you can appreciate the pressure that Todd was feeling, as it must have seen the world was closing in on him.
Ball knocked out of his grasp. Excellent reactions by Todd. Not only did he get that ball back up, but didn't lose his cool, started back very close to the line of scrimmage when he fired that pass. The official said he was indeed behind. Unfortunately, the pass slightly off target. Now let's see if Walt Michaels is going to gamble or if he's going to kick it away. A lot of time left in this game, so he may well just kick it down and count on his defense to try and get it back for him.
5 minutes, 15 seconds left. Ramsey to kick. Dino Hall back at the 10. Guy Bingham, Montana rookie, to snap. Ramsey.
Little feature. Wants to stop it.
Good looking kick. And out of bounds, or yes, at the 8-yard line, it trickles out. So the Browns now, their job well defined. They have a 3-point lead. They have to eat up 5 minutes, and the Jets in turn trying to get it back and put on more heat.
America's
Dusk in Cleveland, Ohio. Overcast throughout the day. No rain since they pulled off the tarp about noon today. Rain during the morning. That great shot from News Hawk 3, WKYC TV, Action 3 News. Brian Sipe, Merlin Olsen is 47 yards short of his own personal high for yardage thrown in a game, but you have the feeling here that he might be tempted to stay on the ground, try to chew up as much time as possible. Or do you think he'll keep it in the
I think he's going to throw. I think they've got to do what they do best. I think he's going to come out throwing the football. He'll mix the run, but I think he's going to throw.
There you are, right again, from his own goal line, dumps it out to Pruitt, and Pruitt has close to a first down at the 17-yard line. Ron Crosby made the tackle. Elsewhere, the Lions kick another field goal by Murray at the end of the first half to pull within one at St. Louis. And the Bears get the touchdown back as Evans has hit Fashionable 4 yards. It's 28-7 Chicago.
I think Cleveland now wants to do what they do best. They like their offense on the field now. That's the strength of their team. The strength of their offense is the passing game. As I said, I think they'll mix the plays in, and they'll throw only good percentage and not dangerous passes. A lot of short passing here.
Up the middle goes Mike Pruitt at the 20-yard line. One of the remarkable aspects of this game, Merlin, considering the fact that the field somewhat moist and soft in spots, that we haven't had any fumbles, that both teams have been glue-fingered.
Now, both teams have handled the ball well during the year. Jets running backs, I think, have only had 2 fumbles on the season. And the Cleveland team, actually the lowest in turnovers in the AFC. So neither of these teams prone to turn the ball over very often.
And those turnovers, all 3 on interceptions. All 3 in the first half.
The other thing I think we're going to see here, the Jets may have to start to gamble a little bit. They're not a blitzing team, but they may have to do that.
There's Pruitt. Almost breaking it away. He's out across the 25 to the 26 and a gain of 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4, and the clock running to 3:20.
Big difference between the two halves of this game. The first half, even though both teams moved the ball successfully, very few points on the board. Only the 3-pointer and the missed 3-pointer that almost tied it up, that hit the goalpost. In the second half, high percentage of the drives have resulted either in touchdowns or scores. Certainly a tribute to the offensive teams of both the Jets and the Cleveland Browns.
Less than 3 minutes left, and the Browns trying to chew up the clock. 2nd and 4. Sipe. Again, out to Pruitt. 25, 30, first down to the 31. And it's 2:41, 2:40 left.
A most unusual play. Marty Lyons, a defensive tackle, actually out there covering Pruitt. I don't know whether he just read the play. I can't believe that they've assigned a defensive tackle one-on-one to Greg Pruitt, but he just was faked out of his shoes.
You know, there was an interesting little note there. Doug Deacon really using his head. He got Barth involved in a conversation about the spot or something. By the time Barth finished the answer, the clock was down to 2:29, and now the Browns can let it run all the way to 2 minutes. It was not spotted before the 2:30 mark. And so the Jets, with 3 timeouts left, they find the tackle was made with about 2:40 left in the game. 40 seconds have been chewed up since the tackle, and now the 2-minute warning.
Dick, as the drive started this half, there have been 2, 4, 5. 4 of the 5 have ended up in touchdowns. 4 have ended up
Immediately call time. Their first of this second half. 1:54 left, and importantly, the Browns keep the ball but lose 3. It'll be 2nd and 13. Timeout. The Browns lead the Jets by 3. Less than 2 minutes remain. The Cardiac Kids of Cleveland. The Browns lead 17-14. They beat Green Bay by 5, 26-21. They defeated Pittsburgh by 1 here, 27-26. They held off Chicago, 27-21. They beat Baltimore by 1, 28-27. They squeaked past Houston, 17-14. They lead by 3 against the Jets today. 2nd and 13. Sipe. A great catch by Pruitt, and he goes out of bounds, and a flag, and I believe it's against the Jets.
face mask.
Oh, that'll be
costly air, because that means it's a first down. We talked about rookie mistakes. I think it might be Darrell Ray again.
It would have been 3rd and about 8, Merlin. Instead, now it's the first down.
Well, that's the kind of year they've had. But you know, in a way, when you have as many young players on a team as Walt Michaels has collected on this team, we read lips, Walt. Take it easy over there. When you have that many young players, you're going to have that kind of mistakes. At some point, you have to let them.
Penalty, 5 yards only. 5 yards only, first down.
But it is the first down, and that's the hurting part of that penalty. When you have that many young players, finally you got to let them play, let them get some experience, and let them outgrow that kind of mistakes.
And he continues to have, because of injuries and other factors, the youngest team in the NFL in the last 3 years. They had done a pretty good job of putting Cleveland in a 3rd and 8, but now it's first down and 1:48 left. Jets have only 2 timeouts remaining. Comes Pruitt at the 42-yard line, decked by Ray and Moresco.
Obviously now, Cleveland will be trying to stay in bounds. They don't want to stop that clock. Let it tick.
Jets use a timeout. 1:40 left. Jets have 1 timeout remaining.
Fumble on the ensuing kickoff, about to score again. Let's go back to Cleveland.
Walt Michaels, New York Jets head man across the way. His team now in a desperate vice. 1 timeout left. They trail by 3. Cleveland with the ball, 2nd down and 7. Ryan Sipe has set a new Cleveland Brown record. He's completed 29 passes today. Blitz. And complete to Pruitt. That's his 30th completion and a first down at the 49 of the Jets, and that should do it.
We talked to you about the fact that this is not a blitzing team, but that the New York Jets were going to have to step out of character, try and put some pressure on Sipe. The problem with that is Sipe is as good as there is in the league at picking up the blitz, taking advantage of it, again, with a high percentage pass, threw the ball accurately, but threw it low. That ball had been missed by Pruitt and put on the ground. Pruitt gets a crucial first down. Clock ticking again, the single timeout left. Things are looking bleak for the New York Jets.
Well, that's their last timeout, Berlin, so Sipe really doesn't need to hand off. He can just take the snap and fall down 3 times, and the game should be over. We want to thank our spotters, John Betchko and Pete Halvin, Joe Costanza, statistician, Cleveland, Ohio, very kind to the players, fans, and all of us for this beautiful weather. It's like a spring day, a spring rain, 60 degrees this morning. Unfortunately, it did not rain during the course of the game.
Looking ahead, we might well be making another trip in this direction before long. I can't help but feel that maybe we could save some of this. If we could save some of this weather, Dick, a little bit of this warmth.
I'm for it. Now Sipe in that protective formation just falls down as Reggie Rucker playing what amounts to an 8-yard tailback, and the Jets have no way of stopping the clock now. So the Cleveland Browns, Cardiac Kids was the name of their NFL film of last year, their highlight film. They've already picked the name of the film this year, Cardiac Kids the Second.
They've lived up to their billing today. Not the kind of day that I'm sure Sam Rutigliano would have liked them to have. I'm sure he would have liked a very convincing and one-sided victory, but the Jets have played well throughout this game, and if it hadn't been for some very costly errors and some, I'd say almost rookie errors, they might well be in the lead at this time.
Hey, how about the Pat Leahy field goal for those of us who joined us late? Leahy, a 55-yard field goal that hit the crossbar and bounced back. Otherwise, it'd be a tie, but it's a deserved celebration for the Browns faithful in Cleveland. Boy, how they've supported this team, and the romance continues. The Browns will remain a full game ahead of Houston with 2 games left. Final play of the game. Rutigliano across the field to say hello to some of the Jets and Coach Walt Michaels. The Browns are 10-4 and lead Houston by 1, Pittsburgh by 2 in the Central Division. And Walt Michaels can walk off the field with his head up. His team played a very tough opponent very well today.
But typical of their year, another game goes into the loss column. A frustrating year for Walt Michaels.
Ryan Sipe is not the only one picking up a lot of ground at Cleveland, where the Browns tried to stay 1 game ahead of the Oilers. Strafing the Jets would put the Cardiac Kids 1 game closer to their first division title since 1971. Mike Pruitt racked up some real estate of his own as he gave the Browns a 10-0 lead early in the second half. This seemed like a secure cushion considering the energy crisis that has struck the Jets' offense this year. But a Richard Todd pass to a highly touted rookie, Johnny Lamb Jones, propelled the Jets in front. But just as the Jets sensed an upset, Brian Sipe hit Greg Pruitt with one of his 30 completions, a team record. Cleveland grounded New York 17-14 and remained atop the AFC Central.